Head up on him a touch, Kev. Big smile, boys.
Hi, I'm Kevin Nash.
And I'm Alan Blair. It's coming to the end of our year on the big pit and we've had some right good results, haven't we, Kev?
We have.
It's been brilliant.
Come to good in the end.
Anyway, enough of us. Sit back and enjoy NASH 2014. There's plenty more beautiful fish to be seen.
Went into work this morning, weather wasn't looking that good. I watch it every day because I've just been waiting for summer to start. I just love hunting and stalking and surface fishing, that's my thing. We haven't had a summer yet, but I looked out at the office midday and it was warmer than they predicted. Wind's a bit light, but a good chance to fish the riser and hunt them, which is what me and Alan love doing best. So I spoke to him about his workload and my workload and we pulled a stroke. We've nicked 3 or 4 hours off to come over this club lake and we're going to work this evening. Plan is simple, we're going to fish as a team. The best way to fish riser pellet is get upwind and keep pulting it in a steady stream down the drift. So that's what I'm doing, but of course the fish are down the bottom of the drift taking it off the surface. So I'm going to fish from this end with zigs, one say a foot below. I might even bring one up to the surface as well with a riser imitation, but I'll tell you about that in a minute because I want to get the rods out because these carp are beginning to trough. I honestly believe the riser pellet is the most lethal bait in carp fishing. On its day, of course, you've got to be a day when the fish will come up in the surface layers or to the top. But it don't necessarily have to be on the top, and that's the point of using the zig bugs. Riser pellet just attracts them up to the top. If there is a cold chill on the surface, they may not come up and actually take off the surface, but you'll certainly nail them on the zigs underneath. They really begin the show, and Alan down the other end, I wouldn't be at all surprised if he soon starts picking them up on the control on the surface. A zig doesn't have to necessarily be fished mid-water. I put one 9 inches below the surface and one actually in the surface film. The zig bug I'm fishing 9 inches below the surface, that's a louse. I have to say it's my favourite pattern. I've caught so many carp on it. I'm sure I would have caught them on the other zig bugs, but you just get confident in something, and so you use it a lot, don't you? The one on the surface I think I mentioned is a riser pellet imitation. That is lethal. Alan's been using that a lot with the controllers on the surface, but there's no reason why we can't use it with a zig rig as well. Both are flavoured, beetle juice on my louse and the shrimp juice on the riser pellet one. Setup wise, there's an awful amount of blanket weed in here, clogging up the leads and everything, so I want to discharge the lead. I don't want to have a lead stuck 9 foot down my hook link, so I'm using the weed safety bolt beads. That's an example of how effective this method is. That rod's literally been out 3-4 minutes. And you know what? It could be a reasonable fish. Yeah, he did out. I only cast it out 3-4 minutes ago. Oh, this is just such an amazing method, isn't it? How you doing down there?
There's a lot of fish about. They're a bit finicky at the moment, but yeah, that drift's working really well, Kev. What I've noticed is you've got a lot of fish quickly coming up the drift and feeding, you know, closer to you than right down on the bottom.
That's because I'm trying to keep them away from you. I'm so good at feeding them. I watch them. If they start drifting towards you, I just stop feeding.
It sounds like I'm going to have to get some floaters out.
Bigger controller. Cast it up this end. This lake seems slightly familiar. This is the club lake that we showed in the Zig feature last year. First time I ever fished it, and I had the lake's big common. But this is the first time I've been back since. There's also a big mirror in there that's gone faulty. And wouldn't that be bizarre? His lucky Nashie got the big mirror. I take Alan fishing with me because he's my pest controller. I let him catch all the little ones and I just catch the big one.
I don't mind, eh, mate?
You love it,
I love
don't you?
bending the rods, like.
I once said to him, what would you rather have? A 50-pounder or 10 good 20s? He said 10 good 20s. So we are a great team. So there's a good tip for you veterans. Find a young lad, he can carry all your tackle for you. You catch your big one and he keeps the little ones off you. I'll tell you what, this thing's fighting. I'm going to shut up now. And I'm beginning to shake and get nervous. Yeah, and that's a wonderful thing, isn't it? I can still, after 40 years. Oh.
Certainly kicking up plenty of swirls. Still taking, it's crazy. Really got them going. Really have got them going.
I'll tell you what, Al, this ain't going to be over for another minute or two. Do us a favour, get some more riser, keep them feeding.
They really are coming up.
But you know the score, you've got to keep them feeding. Proper food cooking this. Gutted. I lost it. That was a good fish. Well, they're still troughing, so hooking that fish didn't spook them. Got the rods back out now. I might look okay, but I can tell you I am absolutely gutted. That was a really good fish. Really good fish. Alan, I'm in again, mate. I can't stress enough how lethal this approach is. I've now been fishing half an hour. You see me lose an absolute chunk, and already I'm into another fish. And let's make no mistake, you know, this lake isn't the hardest in the world, but
you're not messing about.
Yeah, equally, it's not the easiest either. The guy left us where he was arriving. He'd done 3 days and blanked. You know, I'm not trying to say, look at me, the big I am. I'm just trying to put across that this method is so effective. This fish is not as big as that other one. I can tell you that now.
Nice one.
Is it? Mm. Oh, Alan just told me it's a nice one.
Pretty, like.
Pretty. Oh, it's not big.
Does it matter that they're not massive?
Well, if they're pretty and massive, then that's perfect. Otherwise, I go for pretty. Well, I was happy to get that one in after losing the other one. Thanks, Al.
Well done, mate.
What a cracking old wire. Not a bad consolation for that chunk I lost before, eh? Pleased with this one. Should we see the other side? Quick photo of the other side and then we'll put her back. Probably go eat another zigbuck. Enough, Mr. Cameraman? Touch under 25, I'm being told. I didn't expect it to be that heavy. I must be eating more spinach nowadays.
Well, Kev's had a couple of bites already, but that pellet's drifted down far enough now that it's sort of stopped here. The wind's really died off, and I've just hooked my first fish on a little bolt machine, probably about 40 yards out towards the middle of the lake, 40, 50 yards. You know, as Kev said, he does like catching the big uns. For me, I can't beat this, you know, drifting a bit of riser and some floaters out over the lake, watching those backs break the surface of the water, you know, and then when it comes up and takes an hook in one, it's just, I love it, it's brilliant. Excellent, love it. So first fish of the session for me. I've taken it on the bolt machine and it's absolutely engulfed a hook bait. Just goes to show that when you do get them feeding confidently, you can get some really good hook holds when surface fishing. You know, this one's nailed. It's taking it right back. What I'm using here is a little floater bug, and this one actually imitates a dog biscuit. So in with my bucket of riser pellet, I've mixed in some floating pellets, some dog biscuits and a bit of zig juice just for added oil and flavour. And like I said, this one's taking it right back. Just pop that out, and there it is there. So you've got a lovely colour there to imitate, you know, a pedigree chum mixer or the like. And mounted underneath that, you've got a size 8 uni hook. Yeah, great way of catching a few fish.
Just had another one, pretty little ghost mirror. It's now 3 in an hour.
Well, I've managed to sneak another couple out while Win and Ollie have been up there filming Kev. The wind's almost stopped now and the riser pellets ended up in this part of the lake. There's quite a few fish down here. Mopping up the last bit of the drift. I don't think we're going to hang around for much longer. It's been a great afternoon. Kev's had a few bites, I've had a few bites. It's just been good fun. And when you're catching fish as pretty as this, it doesn't get a lot better. Like I said, I got another one in the net. It was a bit hectic. I was just laying both rods on the deck and I looked around and the clutch was going, yeah, and I leant into the fish. And actually, while I was playing this one, the other rod went off, and I've managed to slip them both in the net. And there's the second part of a quick brace. Another absolutely gorgeous carp. It can be such a productive way of sort of floater fishing like this, you know, laying a couple of rods on the deck, and that is the other beauty of the bulk machines. Allows you to fish more than one rod, certainly keep the feed going in. Nice fish. I'm going to get this slip back, and then I'm going to show you these bulk machines. What a lovely little carp. Just before I get this cast back out, I'll quickly show you the bulk machine and the setup I'm using. It's very, very simple. There's 3 sizes in the range. Real small, cute one for sort of close range work, real intimate fishing. There's a medium size, and then there's the absolute daddy to get you right out to the middle of the lake, to those areas where it's unlikely that it's probably ever been floated fished before. Really, really simple to set up. You can just slide the plastic sprue in the body down your main line and tie a swivel on. The swivel then plugs into the grommet at the bottom. Very, very simple. They've been designed in such a way that you can interchange them. It allows me to take the body off and put a lighter or a heavier one on, depending on where I want to get to. On top of the bulk machine, there's a foam cylinder. Great little tip here. You can actually soak these in your chosen flavour or oil. I've got a number sort of soaked up ready to go here. It means before I cast out, I can quickly drop another one in, get it out on the spot. It does 2 things. Firstly, it can put a flat spot on the area, so it allows you to see your setup better if you want to actually watch the fish taking the bait. And secondly, it's obviously putting a load more added attraction into the swim. Its other main purpose is it's a sight aid, so if you want to actually watch your float out there, you can put a black one in or an orange one. It really depends on the light levels and what's easiest for you to see. Just to finish my rig off, I've got a nice long hook link here. It really depends on how the fish are feeding. Some people like to fish it very, very short. I personally prefer to fish it at least 1 metre long, just to keep that hook bait away from the bulk machine. But yeah, some zig flow line here, sits nicely on top of the water. And finally, I've got a hook bait. Hook bait choice is really up to you. Kev's been drifting the riser pellet down, so on one rod I've got the imitation riser pellet hook bait. This is an imitation dog biscuit, but really you can use anything, a pop-up, a marshmallow. You can hair rig a dog biscuit if you like. The choices are endless. Anyway, going to get this back out on the spot and see if we can nick one more fish before we go. And here's the end of our quick afternoon session. Final beautiful little carp. It's been a great afternoon. Get out there, give it a go yourself, find a mate who's up for it, and get out there with a bucket of riser pellet and get it drifting down across the lake. I'm here today to show you our awesome new range of airframe sleep systems for 2014. The last couple of years saw us really focus our attention on how we could deliver a product that not only worked exceptionally well in the colder months, but all year round. And I feel we've really delivered a range now that will see you right through all the seasons of the year. I'm going to start off by talking about the frame. Obviously the frame in any bed is really important, it's what's supporting everything. And a lot of attention's paid to the design of ours to ensure it stands the test of time. We use full oval bars all the way around, which ensures it's strong, rigid and doesn't flex and twist when in use. The hand wheels are gone. We've now got these big double hinges either end, head and foot section. Not only does it take away some of the bulk and the weight by not having the hand wheels there anymore, but it allows you to fold the whole product up really compact and flat. It sits brilliantly on the barrow. The bed's now laid completely flat. If you do want to incline it, just simply adjust the leg mechanism on the head section and you can adjust it to whatever height you want to give you the comfortable night's sleep you require. Moving up from the frame, you've got the mattress. Interestingly, about 3 years ago we changed our mattress design. We've now got a patented system where we're using a mesh base, and this does a couple of really important things. First of all, in the summer months, because of the mesh, it eliminates any moisture and damp underneath, which is generally just really unhygienic. As well as that, it's creating a maximum amount of airflow. It also reduces an amount of weight, making the overall bed chair a little bit lighter. On top of this mesh base, we fix on a real luxurious mattress, and it features high density foam. But importantly, on top of that, you've got a deep pile hollow fill topper, I suppose, making it just so nice to touch. The whole thing's coated in a peachy cotton type feel fabric that just makes for a really comfortable night's sleep. It's a sleep system product, which means it's got 2 duvet layers that are fixed on top of the bed chair all the way around the skirt. Again, a patented system, and it allows you to customise the layering to the time of year you're fishing in and the conditions that you're fishing in. Interestingly, this year we added on a development that we put onto our sleeping bags last year, and that's the climate control baffles that run all the way down the full length of your body. And it basically works on the same principle as the mountaineering style bags. They're real narrow in design, meaning that when you get into them, instantly you're warming up that little void around you. Unlike a conventional carp type sleeping bag, which is very large, and when someone like myself gets in it, I've got these huge voids to the left and right of me that I've got to warm up before I'm actually warm. As I mentioned, it's 2 layers, so you can zip an additional layer on for when it gets really cold. However, when it isn't so cold, i.e. in the summer months, you can detach that and you can keep that safely at home for when you need it when it does get cold again in the winter months. There's a few bolt-ons for this year's range to really make them an incredible all year round product. First up is the Air Shield underlay blanket. This is a blanket that when you remove your main mattress, you can lay it on underneath. It fits in place where the Velcro tabs are, securely to the mesh base. You can then put your main mattress back on top of it, and of course in the winter months when it is cold, it adds an additional layer of insulation to your sleep system. It also doubles up as a brilliant summer blanket. We've got a range of pillows. And the final product is the air shroud. It's 100% waterproof, PU coated, with a hydrostatic head of 10,000, meaning that you can do nights under the stars, no issues at all. And when you're fishing under single skin shelters or under an umbrella in the damp weather, you're not going to get cold and damp yourself in the under layers. If you actually flip the shroud over and look at the underside of it, it's got another layer of deep fill, hollow fill, and then a layer of that lovely peach skin with the real cottony feel to it. I've slept on that light mattress with that light shroud over the top of me. It's meant that I can pack up, everything's compact and light for the time of the year when I'm fishing most actively. I'm getting up early in the morning, moving spots, etc. Another point I've got to mention about the air shroud, a real cool but yet practical element, is these two little eyelets in the corner. You can simply take a 48-inch storm pole, add a little U-rest onto it, jack up the side you're looking out of, and spend a real pleasant night under the stars. If you're out in the depths of winter, you can load it all the way up and be extremely warm. However, if you're fishing and active through the summer and you want a really, really comfortable night's sleep, strip it all back, leave some layers at home, sleep on the blanket, just use the shroud, customise it to your own requirements. There's 5 models in the range, the SS3 and the SS3 wide, that's the short-legged version. Then you've got the SS4 and the SS4 wide with the longer legs, and finally the big beast, the Emperor. There really is something for everyone in the airframe sleep system range. Well worth checking it out, guys, and if you get the opportunity, jump inside just to see how comfortable and cosy they really are.
Hi, I'm Alfie. You joined me here today on one of my local London park lakes. As you can see, it's a beautiful day. I've had a little walk around already and I've just seen some fish behind this hedge. So I'm going to set up a little rod and see if I can nick a quick bite before I have another walk around. Right, that's one rig in position now. I was a little bit hesitant when I put it out because there's actually quite a number of fish down there now and the bottom's a bit stirred up. A couple bubbles are popping up to the surface. So if one of them's hungry for that little pop-up, we should be in with a chance of nicking a fish quickly. So I'm going to see how it goes for now. I can see my hook bait, so I'm going to watch it, see if a shadow comes over it and picks it up. Well, I got that little rod out, just plopped it a couple of feet off the edge where I saw some fish. I'm looking now and a few of them have moved further down the bank. So yeah, I think I'm going to set up another little rod, maybe try a different bait on it this time. Maybe a little boilie or a little piece of baked corn. Rain. It's raining. Well, that's the setup I'm going to be using. 2 grains of mutant corn, just with a little split shot on a KD style rig, size 8 Fang X, and a little bag of pellet and some fish meal ground bait, and a little 1.5 ounce to drop off lead. Well, it looks like after that little shower we had, the fish have been pushed a little bit further out than my margins, so I think I'm going to reel the rods in and go for a little stalk. As you can see, when I've retrieved this rig, there's loads of silkweed and dead leaves around the hook. That's why I opted for the little light lead and the longer hook link with the 2 bits of balanced corn, just so it sits and settles on any old rubbish that's lying on the lake bed. Well, I've just had a little walk. I've come to the other end of the lake now. Just in a little stalking hole now. Where the sun isn't up, I can't quite see any movement or any shapes of fish in the edge. But there is a couple out there sunning themselves. So I'm going to walk up a tiny bit more, see if I can see anything. But so far it's looking like there's a few fish in the area. Yeah, I'm gonna trickle a little bit of bait in this edge, and then come check it in an hour or so, see if any fish have visited the spot, and hopefully by then the sun would have moved, it would be on this spot, we could see clearly what's been going on. There's quite a few fish cruising around, so I think it's looking good. Just drop a few little baits in the edge where they've been fizzing, see if we can nick a bite. There's still fish in the area. Managed to get rigs in without spooking them. There's still a couple feeding, but they've pushed out just that little bit more. When I got here, quickly dropped singles on them as they was feeding, like the 2 grains of corn and a little pop up. I think just tied up a little bag. I think maybe that extra little bit of scent might just draw one closer to the hook bait, as they're grubbing on some of the naturals and sieving through all the silt and stuff, and they're gaining something from it, otherwise they wouldn't be eating it. But hopefully that that little mouthful should be a little bit more attractive to them. One just rolled out there again. So let's get it out there. Well, I've been sat here for about an hour now. I was fishing little single hook baits, just dropping them in front of a couple of feeding fish, but that didn't induce a bite, so I thought I'd throw a couple handfuls of pellet, hook a little bag on, and as soon as the pellet went in, the fish come in to the swim, started grubbing about and fizzing. Still I haven't had a bite yet, don't know why, I've been sitting on my hands. But I've just rebaited the swim as there's bubbling and fizzing for about an hour, and I think it's looking good. The sun's gone down a bit, the temperature's dropped by a degree or two, so it's just a matter of time. Perfect. What can I say? It was just a matter of time. Gave it a little while. The fish come back on the spot after that fresh baiting, and it's ripped off. Well, there's the proof. A beautiful Well Park Lake Common. Caught it in the edge on 2 pieces of Newton sweet corn. Lovely old fish. There's just something about these Park Lake fish that no other fish have. Every fish has its own little character and looks like it's got an own little story to it. Beautiful. After catching that little angry common, it's beat up my rig slightly, so I've just got a new one out. I'm going to tie it on. Nailed it on the 2 little pieces of Newton corn. The lead ejected safely, so the setup works a treat. I'm going to get it out there while there's a few fish still milling about. See if we can nick another one quickly. Well, after catching that little common from the opposite bank, I've come for a walk. After catching it, I didn't see another fish, no movement, no bubbles, nothing. Come round here, sort of haven't seen nothing either. The light levels have dropped massively, so seeing them's quite hard. I can hear thunder in the distance, so I think I'm going to do a very quick lap of the lake and see if I can get settled down for the night. Well, I was planning on staying for the night, but the rain's torrential and it looks like it's setting till the morning. I'm gonna call it a day, but you never know, there's always tomorrow.
We were first placed on this planet as hunters. Thousands of years of so-called civilization has tempered that basic generic trait. But for some of us, the desire to hunt still burns inside, and hunting is the ethos of Kevin Nash's carp fishing approach. Rather than camping out in ambush, hoping that a fish may come along, he takes the more certain and mostly speedier alternative of seeking out his quarry. With the hunter awakened, you become aware of your surroundings and in tune with nature. Stealth and concealment become instinctive, and the ability to cover ground easily, without fatigue, essential. Rods and luggage have been made smaller with no detrimental effect. In fact, it has brought about huge benefits. Scope has kicked off a tackle revolution, as more and more anglers get the fact that 9 and 10 foot rods aren't just for stalking. You can do virtually everything with a 9 foot rod that you can do with a 12 or 13 footer, and in many cases you can do it a lot better. The scope ethos of mobility and compact equipment is now our focus for future developments. Sometimes you get stuck in a rut and can't see the wood for the trees. Kevin realised that this happened with carp rods over the years, as we sought the extreme distance that we rarely needed to achieve. He recognised not only the advantage, but also the pleasure of downsizing back in the 1990s, when a 9 foot stalking rod of his was swapped for 3 of the same, but not as stalkers, as fishing rods, 4-ounce bolt rigs, PVA bags and all. He found it so much easier to make the necessary precision casts under far margin trees, and playing fish was a dream. Kevin just felt so much more in control and was quite surprised at how far he could chuck with them. The furthest cast he needed was 120 yards or so, and he was doing that with his 9 footers with ease. So quite why he got his 12 footers out again is anyone's guess. A couple of years ago, while undertaking the challenge of new water, which was a wilderness of some 3 miles around and struggling through bramble, reeds and rush, memories of the 9 footers came back. The eureka moment of retracting the book came to him as the obvious answer, and so the scope was born. Now Kevin had the cutest of rod skins, and he could float through the undergrowth, above quiver and rod skin grabbing thorns. The performance of the rod is one thing, but the package length and the ability to miniaturise your gear is a revelation. Now you don't need an estate car or a van for all of your kit, or a barrow to transport it. And you needn't worry about theft either. Scope can hide in the boot of your car, safe from prying eyes, and ready to use on the slightest whim. With the size of your gear minimised, everything is so much easier, and time can be optimised by moving around, following the carp, or even taking advantage of a lunch break. Sitting by a park lake eating your sandwich and spotted a fish feeding, just get a scope out and catch it. Scope is not only the preference of the serious carp angler, but also of anglers fishing around the world for species as diverse as bass, catfish and sharks. Scope is a lifestyle. Kevin had been testing a 4.5 pound scope, originally with spotting in mind, but then he made another discovery. The sensitivity felt through it was immense. This rod is a big step forward in feature finding, for a simple reason that the transmission through a 12-foot rod is dampened considerably, whereas with a 9-foot 4.5 pound scope, it's amazing how much more you can feel. We predict that this will be the trend for the future of marker rods, and it also makes a great heavy-duty fishing rod for species such as pike and catfish. If you're a globetrotter, a scope offers you a package short enough to travel, but without the disadvantages of loss of performance that you'd experience with the telescopic or multi-joint travel rods. We're enhancing this philosophy with the launch of a 6-foot scope, which measures a diminutive 29 inches when retracted. For a day or evening on the move, we are especially proud of the new scope backpack, designed and thoroughly tested by Kevin Nash, with a nomadic angler in mind. The special lightweight aluminium frame ensures that the pack clears your back, giving you full support and ventilation. Anglers understand that scope rods aren't just short-range tools, they are equally as effective at distance. So we're delighted to announce the addition of our 1 and 2 rod scope big pit rod skins. Finally, we turned our attention to bivvies, and now the session angler can extend the compact scope ethos to his shelter. The S-Pod is lightweight and ultra-compact. It is micro in size, but easily roomy enough to accommodate the focused angler and his kit. It provides all-weather protection and rapid breakdown to move quickly and hunt. Scope for the future.
Hello, my name's Carl Smith.
And my name's Alex. We've been fishing for around 7 years now, and since we started we've just really loved it.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting you to stop there. Hello, my name's Carl Smith.
And my name's Alex. We've been fishing for around 7 years, and since we started we've just loved it.
When we started, our parents had never fished, but they took us to the local lakes. We fished for roach on the float, that sort of thing, and gradually we just taught ourselves simple methods, and more recently we've sort of progressed to carp fishing. We started filming our sessions about 4 years ago on a little handy camera, and I actually decided that we were going to put them up on YouTube.
Yeah, and we wanted to share our experiences and our adventures of the sessions we had on the bank or on the river.
So yeah, we're in a privileged position today because obviously NASH cameras are here with us. So the pressure's off in terms of filming, but pressure's on in terms of us having to go and see if we can catch a carp. So I think that's what we should do.
Yep, definitely.
Let's do it.
We're off the Tanyard fishery. It's our local commercial fishery, and some of the lakes there are stunning. We've arrived at Tan Yard. We've chosen to fish Specimen Lake 1. Mainly it's got some stunners in here, but there's 7 lakes here, and we've had a few, haven't we, Carl?
Well, in the past we've done a bit of stalking down here. I had a really nice 23-pound mirror recently. I was proper happy with that, but I mean that's a bit above average size for this place. Expecting a few sort of pretty scaly smaller carp, but yeah, the sun's blazing down on us today, and I think stalking is going to be the way during the day. But
yeah.
Shall we bait up some spots for the night?
Yeah, I think we'll bait up some spots for this evening and tonight, so when they go down on the bottom. But for now, I think stalking's the way forward.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get our stuff and we'll get set up.
Let's get fishing.
Right, so we've set up the bivvy now. We were thinking about putting out some bottom bait rods, but if I'm honest, we've seen so many moving around near the surface, I just can't imagine them feeding hard in this weather on the bottom. So we're going to go stalking. Just got my 9-foot dwarf rod, little reel full of 10-pound line, and on the end I've just tied on a size 8 gaper hook, nice and wide gape, and I'd say that's going to be perfect. Popping on 3 little grains of corn. To make them sink a bit slower, and just squeeze them out a little bit. That'll allow it just to flutter down through the water as it sinks. Give me more time to tempt that carp as it drifts down in front of its face. I'll squeeze out that last grain, hook it on, and that's it. I'll just go around dropping that in front of fish, fluttering it down in front of their noses, and every now and then one of them takes it. So we'll give it a little go. Let's see if we can catch one. His head's right underneath the pads.
Sweet corn. Yummy bait. You can eat it and you can fish it.
Did it? What, you've already had two? Two bites? Oh, right. Oh, wicked. Nothing's gone for mine yet. Nothing at all. Really? No, nothing's even gone down for mine yet. Right, so we're just approaching Specimen Lake 2. This is sometimes where I see some fish in this little bay here. Yeah, there's a couple out there. Let's give it a go. Yes, guys. Alex!
Yeah?
I'm in!
Go on. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's oh, sugar. It's a chunk. Oh, sugar. No. Oh my god, yeah. It's decent, it's grabbed a net, yeah. Oh my god, it's a chunk.
Yeah.
Don't worry about getting weed. It's so far around this corner. I can't believe it. It was like the second fish I put it in front of.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Sounds good. Have a look here.
It's decent, Alex.
I can see it.
Is it stuck?
Yeah.
Completely?
I know.
Does it look like it can come out of there?
Yeah, look, it's going through under there.
This is a beast, Alex.
Didn't look massive.
When it took it looked like a 20. Alex, it's seriously, you got to go in quick. Yeah, quick.
Take this off.
Quick. Oh yeah, go on then. You just jump in, it doesn't matter.
Oh,
Should I go in as well?
No, fine.
Hello. Can't believe it, especially two, probably the harder lake on the fishery. And I put a bait in front of what, the second fish I saw? Slurped it straight in. Only problem is it's gone and wedged itself in a bit of weed, but Alex, my brother,
We're playing it more direct now.
has jumped in after it. Come on, net slave. Oh yeah, I can feel it. I can feel it.
Yep.
Don't, yeah. Is it in?
Yes!
Is it really in the net?
There's a lot of weed though.
Oh my god! Yes!
That is quite big as well. Shame I had to go in though.
You got a bit wet. Alright, you wouldn't mind giving me a hand here, would you?
Nice one.
There we go. Still a bit of corn left on that hook. Just get a bit of water on it. Getting a drenching. Okay, what does that say?
24 exactly.
24
Exactly.
exactly. What? I've equalled my personal best, but this time with a mirror. All right. Right, well, here we go. Here's the result of a bit of stalking. £24 on the dot, equalled my PB, and I'd say that's a pretty decent fish. Oh, I'm proper happy with that. A lovely, lovely mirror, and that was taken on the corn just as it was sinking. Put it in front of a common, it wasn't interested. Put it in front of this little fella, and it slurped it up. Wonderful fight and a wonderful fish. Excellent. All right.
Carl, got one. Yep. Yeah. She's coming towards me. Cool.
Right.
It's alright. Here's a common. Come on.
How big is it?
Don't know, but it is.
Where are you going to net it from?
Oh, I think I was going to go in here.
I'll go in actually.
Yeah.
Can I borrow your shoes?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's a nice hard bottom here, right? Where's the line? Don't worry. Get up. Yes.
Come on, Carl. Yeah.
Lovely fish on this boiling hot day, but a method that catches them when they're on the top.
A wicked fish, Alex.
It is lovely, isn't it?
He's a pretty one. Awesome, well done, buddy. Hello.
You got it?
I thought it was foul hooked. Ready? Yeah, plunge the net quite deep. Go for it, lift 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 it. Yeah, yes, yeah. Come on. Third fish in a day. Oh, that's just
I'll quickly go in and get the weed out.
Right. Oh, look at that. Just coming to evening time now and just saw a patch of bubbles coming up and flicked the corn over it. The line just twitched slightly and bam, I was in.
That is a stunner.
Oh, that's a nice one, isn't it?
Yeah,
right, you can lift the net out, thanks. Oh. There we go. That's not a bad fish. Probably the prettiest one of the day. A lovely, lovely carp. And it's not quite as big as the other one, but I'm just as happy with it because look at those scales. Isn't that an amazing looking fish? Do I kiss it, eh? No. No? Right, there's the other side, but it's been quite a hard day stalking today. It's been really, really warm. And in a way, the heat has made it hard for us. So we've been so sweaty and horrible, but finally got this lovely carp, and I think what we'll do now is we'll go back, have a bit to eat and get the bottom bait rods out. Anyway, let's pop this absolute beauty back. Magic.
We're just going to make up some PVA bags because we're going to put these rods out for the night. I've just got some maize pellets. I think Carl's going to make a PVA bag.
Yeah, I'm just going to squeeze up some monster squids into here.
Yeah.
Just a few crushed up ones. Add a bit of attraction to my hook bait, really. During the day I don't bother, but in the night I want that bit of smell and attraction to draw them down to the hook bait when they can't necessarily see it.
And there I've just got a small bag. I'm just going to thread that onto my hook length so the hook won't be showing to get caught on any weed. It's ready to go. Well, what a day it's been. We've had 3 fish. Carl's had 2, I've had 1. All of them were stunners. I mean, we come down here for 2 nights and have 1 fish. We've come down for just an afternoon and we've had 3.
The weather's been good, the sun's been out, it's got the carp sort of moving around on the surface, and because they've been near the surface we've been able to put baits to them, so it's been a pretty good day. But now we just put out some bottom bait rods with some boilies, some sweet corn, a couple of pepperami hook baits, and we'll see what happens in the night. It's supposed to be a mild night.
Yeah.
Not a bit of cloud cover, so we'll have to see how it goes.
Can't wait for tonight.
Well, I can't wait to have that stir fry.
Okay, let's get it cooking.
Good night, and we'll see you in the morning.
Good night.
See you in the morning. Well, see you in the middle of the night with a massive fish.
Yeah.
No, Alex. Are you in, buddy? Did it? Yeah. Where is it? Are you gaining line?
Yeah, that was in the PVA bag, Carl. Screaming run on a bag of monster squid boilies and just a cut down boilie on the hair. Hold the rod into the water.
But we were close to the rod, so we could hit it quickly.
Yeah.
Well done, boy.
There are a million midges on me. Yeah.
Yes!
Oh, an extravagant netting by Alex.
Oh yes! Now the 4th fish of our session. Come on, and one on the bottom bait as well. That has made a truly awesome session. Even more awesome. Small, but it's a nice fish. And there's the monster squid hook bait, just really trimmed down.
Okay.
How about that? Stunning ghost carp. Just caught on a small PVA bag. Cast where I was seeing the fish. Ooh. Awesome. Back into the pads where he came from. I think we're gonna get some sleep.
Well, Alex, he's got a fish. You got a fish? Action.
Carl and I walked around the lake this morning really early. No fish in our swim, but around the other side, in some of the pads, we could see tails out the water, obviously a shoal of carp. And I just brought 2 rods around, and the one that I put really close to the pads went off. So happy with that.
Oh, it's decent, Alex.
No. Oh yes, what a fight that was. We eventually got that lovely mirror in the net. There we go, 16-pound carp, early in the morning. Just cast to where I was seeing the fish, bit of bait around it. What a result. I had that lovely ghosty yesterday evening just as it was getting dark. For now I'm just going to show you a rig that I caught it on and a rig that I normally use here at Tan Yard. Start off with, I've just got some supple missing link braid, just stripped back about 12 inches, give me some space to work with. And I'm just going to tie an overhand loop as the hair loop to put on my bait. There we go. Next thing I do is just get the bait. In this case I was using a bit of a cut down monster squid boilie. So be careful when threading it through. Loop on the bait. Get the bait stop. Through there. So there's the bait. So now I know how long my hair has to be. I'm going to be using a bit of silicone on the hook to make the weight over the point of the hook. So I'm just going to cut off a bit of that. Thread silicone down the braid. And pulling the hook on through the silicone. So now the hook's on, I can just make the length of the hair, just pulling that hook up, and that is about okay. So thread the the braid through the eye of the hook, and then it's just a simple knotless knots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 times round, back through the eye of the hook, and then pulling it tight. Just moistening it a bit as well. And to finish the rig off completely, just another overhand loop in the end, so you can attach it to your lead system. I'm using a inline lead, and I've just got a quick change adapter, which means you can just tie a loop in all your hook lengths and you can really change them quickly. Thread that on, pull the lead inside the swivel so it's a bolt effect. And I've also got a few bits of putty up the main line as well, just to hold the line on the bottom, not in the way of spooking any carp. I've got about 3 bits of that, spreading about 1 metre space. So yeah, that's the rig that I've had the success on this session. It's been a great 2 days. We've done a bit of stalking, we've done a bit of bottom bait fishing, and we've caught a few fish.
We've really enjoyed ourselves, and thanks for watching us. Mum's just on her way, but before she arrives, I think we should go and do a bit of stalking.
Yeah.
See if we can nick another one.
Yeah.
Just hold it 1 second. Show its side.
Look at that! That's my biggest ever trout from the smallest ever river that I've ever fished.
Just shows that stalking with sweet corn isn't just for carp.
Look at it.
Well, we're at Orchid Lakes in Oxfordshire, and it's a water that I've fished on and off now for about 20 years, and it's a venue that I first fished probably around about 1993 when I came down here to do a review for one of the magazines, and I sort of fell in love with the place. I also got on with the owner, Marsh Pratley, got on with him really well, and it's a lake that contains some fantastic fish. You know, there's probably at the right time of the year about 20 different 30s in here, and as you can see around the lake there's a lot of good features, and it's really just a carp water. It's got that feel about it. There's an island in front of us at the moment, there's some pads, there's some weed, there's some snags, there's reed beds, there's bays, there's all sorts of different things to fish to, so it really is a carp angler's paradise really, and that's one of the reasons why I really fell in love with the place. Whenever I approach a day ticket water, I always think that you've got to go on a bit of local knowledge. It doesn't matter whether you're a Kevin Nash or a Steve Briggs, you can be the greatest carp angler in the world, but everybody needs a bit of local knowledge, and I've fished this water quite a bit,
But the first thing that I did, and I know it sounds a little bit of a cliche, I have a word with the other anglers that are on the lake. I went and spoke to a few of the lads. I went and spoke to Marsh as well as Kevin, and found out where they'd been fishing, where the fish had been coming from. And you know, that's the first thing I'll always do whenever I come to a new venue, is find out what's happening. And this swim, it's known for having fish all year round. It doesn't matter when you come here, whether it's in the depths of winter or whether it's autumn, spring or summer. You never put all your eggs into one basket on a day ticket water, because all day ticket waters can become very spotty. You know, by their very nature, there's always quite a lot of anglers on the water, and they see a lot of pressure, they see different rigs, they see different baits. So one day you can be picking up fish from, in this swim, let's say tight to the island. The next minute you can be picking up from the left hand margin or the right hand margin. So what I'll say is to anybody is, if you go to any day ticket water, never put all 3 rods to one area. Try and spread them out a bit, because today they might be picking up from this margin to the right, or they might be off the island, and if you've got them in one area, you're never going to find those sort of things out. My approach today is basically the same wherever I go. I stick to the same rig. It sounds very boring. It sounds like I'm a bit old-fashioned, but I've been using the same rig or the same rig principle anyway, for about 20 years now. And it is basically just a piece of braid with a knotless knot and a liner on it, and a bottom bait. And that's how I fish. And I have put quite a bit of bait out today, especially tight to the island, because, as I said before about local information, getting to know the water and stuff, I know from the previous trips that I've done down here that the island has always got fish patrolling around it, and they do like a good bed of bait, because there's a lot of people that come here and they always tend to fish with a little clump of bait or a few bits and pieces, and a few bait boats going out there. And with most bait boats, there's the same sort of approach, which is dump a load of bait there. So I've tried to go in a little bit differently by putting a bit of bait out there and spreading it around, and trying to mix it up with a variety of different size baits as well. What I've done is I've looked at the features that we've got in front of us and tried to work out in my mind where I think the carp are going to be today. And I do know that certainly the set of pads that's to my right hand side here, that always holds fish. There's always a lot of fish right in the thick set of the pads there. If you climb any of the trees at the right time of the year and look into them, you can always see fish around there. So what I've done is I've got my right hand rod just down the margin. I'd say is an area where the fish do go in and out of the pads at the back there. The middle rod, that's out towards the island. I've got that rod actually quite tight to the island. It's only in about 3 foot of water, because it's nice and sunny today. And I had a look at the long range weather forecast on my app on my phone, and I thought, right, if it's a little bit of sun around, those fish will be tight in and close to that island. So that's where I've got that one. And then the left hand rod, that's just on the edge of these pads here, that's to the left. There's a nice little set of pads that sort of juts out there, and I've just got it over the top of there with half a dozen Scopex squid that's out there. I used to work for Kevin in the early 1990s, and I was one of the field testers then. And when Scopex squid first hit the market, I was one of the original people to use it. And one of the first places I used it on was this particular water. And I came down to the venue. I've got a great memory of this, and used to fish across from Dead Dog Swim to those reeds. And I was fishing in there, and I put the bait out. And as soon as I put the bait out, within an hour or so, the reeds were going, you know, bending backwards and forwards and stuff, and it was great to see. And obviously to a young lad, when I put this new bait in, it really opened my eyes to how good some baits can be. And we put it in, and I ended up catching 720s on one day, which in the early 1990s was a good catch. And I ended up running out of bait. It was that effective. The reason I'm using it today is because I've got so much confidence in it. You know, the good test of a bait is that it's been used for a number of years, and obviously 20 years ago when it first came out, and even today it's still catching fish. That tells you that that is a damn good bait. Right, we're just going to take a look at the rig that I'm using today. And as I said earlier, it's based on a rig that I've been using for 20 years now in my carping, and it's caught me carp from literally hundreds of waters from around the globe. And what I've got here is a piece of missing link. This is 25-pound missing link. I'm basically just going to take this coating off and just strip it completely from the braid. And then I've got a size 6 Fang X, and all I'm going to do is tie this knotless knot style, whip it round, generally around about 10 times. There we go. And then pass it back through the eye. And there's the knotless knot sorted for me. And all I'm doing today is I'm using a bottom bait. So I'm just going to measure the length of the hair that I want and tie a little granny knot in the end. Pull it tight, trim off this excess. Pierce the boilie, put it on the hair, put the hair stop in, and I always tend to like my boilie just touching the bend of the hook. It's not too tight and it's not too long. And then just to complete the rig, all I'll do is take a piece of shrink tube. This is the TT shrink tube. And I'll form a liner by piercing the tube like that and then threading that into place. Push it down and just push it into place. That's there to form the liner, it's also there to protect the knot as well. And all I'll do to complete the rig is to attach the swivel. I like a nice short hook link with a heavy lead just to drive that hook home. I'll just do a 5-turn grinner knot, pull that through. Trim that bit off. And there we go. It's around about 8 inches in length. Just stick that in boiling water, shrink it down, and cast it out, we're ready to go. I've used it now for a number of years all around the world on hundreds of different waters, and yes, there's times when it's probably not the best rig to be using, but I do know that wherever I take that rig it will catch me a fish. It has done today, yeah, it's only a little one, but we've still got a bit of time left, so hopefully we'll get another one. It's only a little one, but there's some cracking fish in here to be caught on the day ticket, and hopefully we're going to see a few more of them. Right, you might have noticed that the carp cradle we're using today is slightly different to last year's model. That's because it is. Right in the middle of the cradle we've got these extra legs to give it a little bit more support, because this particular model is the monster carp cradle. It's designed for the really big carp on a continent, and in a couple of weeks time I'm off to Rainbow Lake, and then I'm off to Hungary to hopefully catch 1 or 2 really big carp, which is where this cradle will really come in handy. Something that's just as important as your landing net and your unhooking mats and your cradles is your Medicarp kit, and it comprises of a nice little towel, and where you see your little areas of infection, just dab it and dry it off. Get hold of one of the swabs, get some of the antiseptic solution, dab it onto the swab, and then just touch it up. And this is perfect for little wounds where the hook holes have been, or any little areas where the scales come off. Just dab it onto those little areas, make sure that fish can fight another day. Right then, we've got the rods set for the night now, and I've got my 3 different spots sorted. I'm relatively happy with where they are, and although it's been quite slow today, I've only had the 1 fish. I'm pretty confident that I'm going to get myself a fish before tomorrow morning when I leave about 9 o'clock. Either way, I've really enjoyed myself down here today. Well, it was a quiet night last night. Not a sound on the rods, but typical of Orchid. Right out of the blue, just as we're packing up, we've just had this little common, so that's a fantastic way to end the session. A couple of fish in the bag and a nice enjoyable little trip.
mad. I've been making Titans for over 20 years, but I've never made one with an inner mesh capsule. And I'm glad we did with the hot summer we've just had, because I was field tested it myself, and oh my God, I thought it was great for keeping out mozzies and such like. But for our European friends, I think we have much greater benefits, keep out snakes and some real nasties. The Globetrotters, there's a 1 and 2 man version, feature an inner mesh capsule with a waterproof front. We can lift up the panels to expose the mesh door and windows. Then it has a waterproof overskin with an extended porch. So if it's really raining in your face, the door is pillar box style, so you can just zip down part of it, look out, and there's no water ingress. In the rear, we've built in a zip flap, so you can unzip that and expose the rear of the mesh capsule, so you can have airflow all the way through on those really hot summer days and nights. This is a Titan in every sense of the word. It's got the legendary Titan frame, renowned for strength. In fact, they've saved people's lives. So attached to that is a mesh capsule. This summer, on those real hot nights, that's how I fished. I didn't have the overwrap on it. But damper nights when it's raining, just slip the overwrap on, and because it's twin skin, you get no condensation drip. Fitted to the inner mesh capsule is a lightweight ground sheet. That makes it easier to fold up and put away. But we do an accessory of a heavy duty ground sheet. I would recommend putting it underneath, and then if you've got sharp stones underneath, it won't puncture through the lightweight ground sheet. So there you have it, Titan Globetrotter, available in 1 man and 2 man sizes. It's a great bit of kit, and I think it'll be well favoured. Like I say, if we keep on having hot summers here, or especially for our European friends, hope they think I'm thinking of them now.
Hi, it's Rich. Gary Bays from Nash Tackle sent me a bit of a challenge. He sent me the new instant action bait range, and I've got a few hours on my hands to try it out. I've come to a local club lake to give it a go and to see how instant it actually is. Great start. Rod's been out about 7 or 8 minutes. Bite straight away. So really happy. I knew the bait would work, but this one was on the tangerine ones. Good start. I can't wait to get the rod back out, see if we can get another one. Let's have a quick look. Ooh. Feels like an ice cube. This fish is so cold. The water's freezing at the moment. Might not be big, but freezing cold day. Let's see if we can get some more. Ooh. Right, he wants to go back. Another bite. They seem to be having it now. I knew this bait would be instant as soon as I cracked that packet open. It smelled so good. And this one is scrapping. Great fun on these little dwarf rods. There we go, another one. A lovely little dark fish. He's got his winter colours up now. He couldn't resist the bait. Have a quick look at him. That one had literally been out there 30 seconds, so pretty instant. Nice fish, real dark one. There we go. Well, that certainly works, Gary. The old tangerine dream. I've got a box in the car, I'm going to go up and let's give another flavour a go, see if we can get some more. Let's have a look at what Gary sent me then. When I arrived, I literally just grabbed a bag of the old tangerine dreams out. I love tangerine, it's freezing cold. I'm not surprised they've caught quickly, to be honest. But what else is in here? So these ones stand out as well to me. Tandoori spice, just another classic sort of cold water bait, autumn bait. They work all year. I actually know that on Gary's own day ticket lake, he's let a few people use these and they've caught loads of fish. The good thing is these shelf lives, they come in, you've got 3 different sizes. You've got the 20s, 15s and the 10s. Well, again, in the winter I love the 10s. But when I'm on the river in the summer, I'll definitely be using the 20s. And probably these ones, crab and krill, fish meals and those sort of shellfish flavours in the warmer months. You won't beat them, so they're going to be a winner. We've got pellets as well. We've got the tiny little ball maker pellets. These are great for stick mixes and PVA bags as well in the winter, remember. And you can add in your liquids. And there's some liquids in here I've spotted as well. They've all got a matching liquid. All of the NASH liquids I've used over the years have been excellent. I know Gary put so much time and effort into making these liquids and food dips, so they're going to be great. You can boost up your bottom baits, your pop-ups with some liquid, or you can put it onto your pellets. I also spotted the old method mix in here as well. I'm not using it today, it's a bit cold to be honest, but that's going to be a winner. And method's really popular and underrated. I've seen how good it can be on commercial fisheries like this and on trickier day tickets. And you've got the higher track pellets. Again, a little bit cold today for big pellets, but as it warms up, these are going to be, I'm sure, in everyone's spod mixes. The thing I really like is these little bags. Great for short sessions like today, all times of year. You know, 4 of them in your bag and you can switch flavours quickly. You know, you don't need to carry kilos of bait around. These are designed to be instant. They've got high attraction levels in them. They break down. The other thing is I notice is they crumble really quickly in my fingers, so they're going to be soluble. They're not hard. I'm totally impressed. And to be honest, where are they? I'm going to slip one of these on now because I think these are going to do the business. So I'm going to put the rods out. Here we go, I saved the best one to last. Well, Gary can certainly say this one like the curry, because I had him on the tandoori spice. I've had a great day. I'm going to slip him back and I'm going to go home for a curry myself.
Fishing La Gomera was an experience I will never forget. It was like stepping back in time, and the carp, they looked prehistoric.
A couple of years ago, I visited Gran Canaria for a holiday and met a guy called Dave Beecham. I got on extremely well with Dave and his missus Alison, and a year later, Nashi visited them. They taught carp and knew a lot of the same people. One thing led to another, and they both reminisced about a story of a lake they'd once been told about. Dave ended up hunting the lake down, and with a couple of friends that lived on Tenerife, Ian and John, they began to fish it. With results almost immediately and fish landed to over 60 pounds, it wasn't long before Kevin and I quickly jumped on a plane. With the scopes in a tube and a bag full of bait and tackle, we headed over to Tenerife. Met the lads. After a short ferry ride through the mist, we ended up on an island called La Gomera, Jurassic carp.
A bit diverse, isn't it, Alan, eh?
The lake was situated at the top of a mountain with a remote village using the water as their source of survival. We knew the lake contained these prehistoric carp, certainly almost unfished for, in a home that consisted of bottomless depths and an underwater village for snags, an environment just perfect for carp to grow to very large proportions.
Down there. An area off to your right. It's over there. Where they're going to, they'll head right down to that end tonight, right down there. On the far side. That's where I lost them 2 fish from over there.
There's your 2 palm trees,
yeah, they were
right?
They were underwater about 4 foot. Just to the right of that, you can see the marker in the water. See, if you look over there, see right, come off them palm trees.
Yeah,
to the right,
it,
see the marker.
Yeah.
That's where I put one out there.
The first night saw us sleeping by the water's edge, just to try and get in tune with the place. And although we were both tired, we found it easy to sit up till the early hours, listening, chatting, formulating a plan, and occasionally hearing a thud from the silence as something out there leapt from the depths. Morning came round quickly and we eagerly loaded the boat and set off in search of the best vantage point covering the maximum amount of water. Well, Kev's gone for a shower. We spent the night in here last night, really just to get a good vantage point. Seen one fish this morning, but we decided to move a little bit further down here. Looks lovely. Much better vantage point. You can see right round into that back bay. And yeah, I'm gonna get this boat over there, go and have a shower, and we've got the rest of the day to get our rods positioned nicely. We pitched up on what we believed was once a small mechanic's yard or very basic garage. And as we fumbled to get our brolly stable in the rocky substrate, we pushed our bank sticks into the ground, realising it was safe to say no one had ever fished here before. As the day wore on, Kev tactfully analysed the water in front of him and how his assault would follow. I, however, began getting restless and needed to go and explore. Carp are carp, and I did what I knew best, went and found some.
Padre. Mamma Padre, no? I know. Oh, yeah. Huge. Not normal.
¿Qué edad podrá tener?
No.
Saca una foto ahí.
You want to come in for the picture?
Do you want to go for the picture? Come on.
Venga, Ro.
So cheese. That's a good picture, that.
In the whole time we were at the water, I never saw a soul until that moment I netted my first fish. They were really happy to see that fish. They had grown up on this island and reassured us that no one, other than Dave, Ian and John, had ever even fished this place for carp. The bass, yes, but the carp were almost mythical, and like we used to believe, uncatchable. They explained that the fish I had, though, was nothing other than a baby.
What do you want me to do now? Just press?
Just leave it, mate, it's running.
Oh, is it?
There it is, first fish. I've just been up for a shower in the beautiful little apartment on the hillside, and as I walk past I see a few fish sitting in the weed, and I couldn't resist just lowering a bait on their heads. Real simple. I grabbed a pop-up off Dave and hook, tied it on the line, and yeah, just lowered it on his head. And he's hungry, he come straight up and nailed it. Certainly a small one in comparison to the photos that Dave and John and Ian have showed me, but we're off the mark, mate. We're off the mark.
It's eating bloody worm, isn't it?
We don't judge you.
So we're just approaching this sort of secondary part of the dam now. There's a very large bank of weed up here, and I found almost a tunnel going through it, and I positioned baits at either both the entrance and the exit. I'm actually using some rather large floats to keep most of my line out of the water, and I'm just going to try and show you these now. Basically they're keeping everything hopefully away from the snags and stuff. There it is there. So I've got my lead coming up to that, and then it runs all the way back to the bank. Great way of fishing, really does prevent you from getting caught in all those obstacles down there.
Later that day I found another group of carp, and after slowly drifting in and out of bays and along inaccessible margins, I was actually skipping heartbeats when I finally began setting up a rod. I began getting fish feeding, large chunks of bread.
Don't care. I've gone and checked my spots. 2 up by the dam, further around by the birds. Nothing's been touched, same as yours. They ain't got down on the grub yet. And I've basically done a full lap of the lake, and I've come down this sort of long bank here, and I've seen 2 fish. Come back, see you, grabbed a rod, grabbed a hook, grabbed some bread, my take anywhere rig, slow sinking. And I've gone back over there. They're still mooching about on this ledge.
What sort of size are these fish?
Oh, I don't want to talk about it. Massive, mate. Colossal. Colossal.
Right.
I've parked the boat up.
Safe to say those doubles then.
You know when you just want to cry, like. Yeah. I parked the boat up, and it's inaccessible. You know, we can't fish along there. It's all brambles, and yeah, parked the boat up, and I've very gently waded down towards where they were. I've made a long cast. So the water clarity, you can see everything. I've made a long cast towards them with a bit of bread. First cast, nothing. I've retrieved it. Second cast, the bigger fish of the 2. He's taken it straight in without any thought. I've hit it. it's dropped off the ledge and just dived and dived and dived and dived. I've got it on, I couldn't, probably 30, 45 seconds, long enough. Never got anything on it, and it's just cut me off.
Sorry, mate.
I think there's some really big fish in here, Kev.
So do I. And I'll get the baby oil out and soothe you.
Don't. You got to lose some, ain't you? I didn't want to lose that one though.
Cheer up, mate. I'll go over and get you an ice cream.
Get a flake in it, please.
All right.
Kev and I had found a group of fish that seemed very content in one particular corner. Kev was fishing his rods long across to another area full of submerged houses, and this allowed me to reposition my rods in that corner, nothing other than my bed, rods and boats pointing in the direction of the fish. In the middle of the night, the carp started hunting the bass fry and all hell broke loose in front of where we were fishing. Literally feet from where I lay, there was carp smashing through the snags hunting their natural food larder. For hours we sat listening to this, watching, in awe of this amazing spectacle. It was a memory that will stay with us forever. Needless to say, we both blanked that night, but it was a very special moment. As weird as it sounds, they never knew we were there, but we were so close.
Elections.
It's the party bass, Kev.
Stupid. Then we can hear the music in the background. I think it's a car touring round, probably local elections or something. Such a mad place. What is it? 10 o'clock in the morning, third morning, second night of fishing with the rods out. Yesterday at this time I was in my shorts and it's probably 27, 28 degrees. This morning, quite frankly, I'm not too warm. As you can see, I'm all clothed in my hoodie and my old Force 10. Not too happy either. Yesterday evening, and I lost the big one. You know, he stalked on floating crust, so he went to bed fairly. I think it's true to say he was upset, probably because he saw the size of the fish he lost. Felt for him. And then 2 o'clock this morning, amazing sight. The fish moved into these snags off this point we're fishing. I can only describe it like pods of them, like whales. There really is some seriously freaky big fish in this place. It is a freak of nature, this lake, I'm beginning to think. They was here for about 3-4 hours, crashing around. I think they was probably herding up prey fish. And if you like, it seemed like they was pushing them towards a group of fish above my baits really, and then smashing them up and eating them, but whatever. 4 hours later I had a take and that shot straight into a snag and cut me off as well. So, fish are winning at the moment. Am I peed off? Of course I am, but this sort of fishing, you just got to keep your spirits up and just keep at it and hope that one is going to go right for you. Words about bait might be of interest to you. Let's go back to the late 80s when I first come to Canaries. Dave Plummer, we brought 20 kilos of the old faithful Scopex boilies with us, a few cans of sweet corn. It was immediately apparent from the beginning that all the takes were coming to the sweet corn. In fact, we bought the island out of sweet corn. I spent 180 quid searching every supermarket vainly for sweet corn. Yeah, that's true. I absolutely believe it's the most instant carp bait. We also now put pellet in there. It's not a fish anywhere in the world that doesn't love a bit of fish pellet, fish meal.
It breaks down nicely as well. Kevin creates almost like a ground bait, you know.
Yeah. And again, the Scopex boilies are yellowy orange colour, so it's kind of hitting on that real visual.
For sure, that is an ultimate visual mix.
Yes.
You know, oranges and yellows and the dark from the halibut pellet, and
I'm sure other flavours work just as well. It's just that it is a good one. And all I will say to anglers, if you are fishing kind of unfished waters like this, forget your frozen baits, forget your English baits. It's all about leaking out the flavour and bright visual baits. That's why ready-mades work better than frozen baits. It's about massive high attract, colour and flavour.
It's base camp. There's me through there in those snags. You move around a bit. Just there's where I hooked and lost the fish. Both the fish actually. To start the dam wall. This is obviously the deepest part of the lake up there. Come to a second sort of concrete wall. I've had baits over there. Well, they've been in the water now for about 36, 48 hours. This is Danny the duck. Kev named him a couple of days ago and decided to start feeding him, and now everywhere we go he follows us. There's a lot of ducks on this lake, but this is the only one that... Hey, can you hear Kev? Look. Ain't you, Kev? Hey? Got him following us everywhere.
Yeah, I'll tame duck.
You ain't weighed him yet then?
This is on.
Yeah.
Well, I finally managed to land a better fish. Had a quiet night last night. Kev and myself were getting up at every hour really, trying to listen out for fish, but it was very, very quiet. And then about 8 o'clock this morning, I've caught this absolute prehistoric creature. And it really, really is a special fish.
He's they're flickering over and back, but it's not. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, sir. They're twice that size of me, mate.
Oh, Dave, I'm not kidding. Whenever I was playing it in a boat, I've definitely seen them twice as big.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No question of it. See a fish yesterday, Kev, that was easily twice as big as this.
That is a warrior.
That's a beauty, mate.
And there it is. Oh, I'm so chuffed. An amazing fish from a truly, truly amazing place. Well, I think it's safe to say we fish in a spot that no man's ever fished before. And it's also safe to say this is a carp that's never been on a bank before.
You sure it's a carp? I think it's some mutation. Look at the pecks on it.
It's so special.
Look at the
amazing,
pecks on it.
amazing
Look,
creature.
that's the most amazing peck.
Amazing.
Pan down its body, Dave.
Look at those fins.
Amazing.
Look at that tail. What a carp.
Finally, I got my first Gamera carp, an absolute prehistoric dinosaur, and I'm humbled to be in its presence. She's been a sack, so I don't know how she's going to be. I'm struggling because, if no one knows, I broke my arm in the winter. But luckily, happily, she's been a baby. What a fish. Oh my God. Like I said, I'm humbled to have caught it and be holding it. On a greedy pig sweet corn rig, same spot as where I lost the other one, and then my other rod went off an hour later and I lost that one. A bit sad about that, but like I said, at least finally I've got one.
Yes!
Well, it's our last night here. It's just been quite possibly one of my best carp fishing trips ever. Yeah, I've only had 2 fish, lost 3, but just been out here, listening, you can hear the frogs, you know, spending a week away with Kev somewhere really special. Special environment, special fish, a real special place, and you know what fishing's all about to me.
The sun is just breaking over the mountain, and how welcome is that? Yesterday it was freezing, really sharp, easterly wind coming off the sea. We had rain, we had sea mist, sometimes you couldn't see 10 foot in front of us. This place is bizarre, it certainly gets all the weather, that's for sure. Last night was our last night, we were so full of expectation. You know, we've learnt a lot this week. We put all the baits on spots where we've seen carp in the vicinity or caught from. And I don't think either of us slept last night, just waiting for it to rip off. Unfortunately, none of them ripped off. Guess that's carp fishing. Just when you think you really got it right, carp gods decide you haven't. Sad to say goodbye. I really want to come back, but then there's other lakes to explore that no man's been before. Who knows?
In 2013, we unleashed the monster squid purple right across Europe, and it very quickly cemented its place amongst the rest of the NASH bait squid range as a prolific catcher of carp. Throughout the course of the year, anglers utilising this range of proven baits caught consistently and caught big, the famous squid-based mix and proven flavours irresistible to carp everywhere. with boilies available in multiple sizes from 10mm to 20mm and matching pop-ups, dumbbells, liquid attractors, food dips, pellets and paste. There are countless ways to customise your approach and share in the successes of 2014. With our UK consultants, the squid range has been catching wherever it has been taken at venues ranging from tiny to vast, from prolific to rock hard. Here are some of the highlights. NASH Tackle's Richard Ditch Ballard is a regular visitor to the River Ebro in Spain, but he has had to wait several years to catch his first 40-pounder from the river, until one morning two showed up at once. A spread of Scopex squid, monster squid and monster squid purple helped him bank 11 fish in quick succession, including 2 20-pounders, 2 30s and 2 40-pound commons. He has also enjoyed success on the squid on a variety of waters back in the UK, bagging some beautiful river carp on the purple and topped off by a 39-pound lever on the monster squid red. A quick February trip to Farlow's in sleet and snow by Tony Bramley yielded 3 carp in 3 hours, fishing to the purple squid topped by this ancient 28-pounder. The poor weather continued in March, but Tony bagged a 33-pounder from a tricky water in horrendous conditions, again on the purple, the first of 15 fish in a 6-week mega haul. True English leathers are a rare beast, but this 29-pounder, which is well over 30 years old, fell to a bed of purples with a Scopex squid pop-up over the top. And finally, a handful of broken monster squid purple and an hour's fishing was all that was needed to tempt an even older carp in the shape of this 40-year-old estate lake upper 20. The ever-consistent Jordan Dix continued his success with the purple squid on farriers, catching regularly and getting amongst some of the better fish, with several commons over the 35-pound mark. He also banked a couple of the lake's rare and much sought-after mirrors, topped by this cracking linear. Young Jack Matthews had a fantastic year on Gary Bays' Syndicate Lake, using a scattering of the Scopex squid fished with a monster squid pop-up on a stiff-hinged rig to bank many of the venue's awesome scaly mirrors during his midweek overnighters between work. This was topped by the PB busting capture of this giant 46-pound mirror. He also banked his first common from the Essex venue in style, the immaculate Coconut Common, which weighed in at 42 plus and was a new PB common for him too. Steve made the most of his limited time this season and still managed to bank some cracking fish using the monster squid. He started off the year in style with a stunning winter capture in the shape of this scaly mid-20 mirror. He used a bit more bait, around a kilo of monster squid, to tempt this pristine 29-pound Colne Valley common. The highlight of Steve's season was the capture of the second biggest mirror from a new venue, this chunky mirror of 33 pound 4 ounces, again fishing over a scattering of monster squid. Simon Crowe had a great year fishing Rod Hutchinson's Woldview Syndicate in Lincolnshire, banking many of the Lakes 18. He used his favourite Scopex squid to bag the Big Lynn and his target fish Floppy Tail at 40 pound 10 ounces. He even caught off the top on the squid using a floater-fished Scopex squid pop-up to tempt a 34-pound mirror known as the Beast. Crowe also bagged 2 biggies on the Scopex squid from the nearby Mester Syndicate, a fish known as One Peck at 35 pound plus, and the beautiful drop-tail linear. Adam Garland used a mixture of his favourite Scopex squid with matching monster carp pellets and the highly visual purple squid to fool several of the prize residents of his local Northants syndicate. He took lovely old mirrors of 31 pound 14, 32 pound and 33 pound 12, along with commons of 31 pound 14 and 33 pound 9. He also scored further afield with a successful trip to a Cambridgeshire syndicate, resulting in a mirror of 32 pounds on Scopex squid and a 30 pound 12 ounce mirror on purple squid at the Carping for Heroes event at Linford Lakes. Making the most of the fishing on his own doorstep, Alfie Russell used the monster squid and monster squid purple to tempt his local Park Lake beauties. Even in the coldest conditions, he banked some incredible old carp from Hampstead Heath and other Park Lakes in the area. Even more impressively, during the spring and summer, he hunted down 2 previously unknown and uncaught 40-pound commons from urban venues, largely ignored by others. An incredible achievement, especially for one so young. The first, a chunky black fish weighing in at £43 12 ounces, smashed his PB and was caught on a monster squid boilie after weeks of careful pre-baiting of the 70-acre venue. The second, a fish that had probably never been caught before, upped his PB by another pound. Again, pre-baiting with monster squid proved successful for Alfie. Belgian carp ace and NASH European manager Ronnie de Groot has gathered together some of the highlights from across the continent.
Let us have a look at some of the carp that have been caught around Europe at NASH-bait squid and monster squid boilies.
Italian NASH consultant Jack Bracaglia fished a very successful session at Lac de Saint-Cassien in southern France, catching carp of 19, 21 and 25 kilos with the cherry on the cake, this incredible 23 kilo half linear. In northern France, French NASH tackle media manager Olivier Peerburn caught this 25 kilo mirror from a tricky public lake using a mixture of monster squid and monster squid black boilies in different sizes. We stay in France, where Andy Chambers fished the immense Lac d'Orient and caught this new PB common at £71 and 8 ounces. He bagged the giant common using monster squid red boilies. Using monster squid boilies also paid off for Italian NASH consultant Roberto Bussolari during a trip to the crystal clear waters of Lake Bled in Slovenia. NASH Benelux consultant Jori van der Beek caught many beautiful carp like this using his favourite NASH bait Scopex squid freezer baits. Belgian ace Mark Pansar prefers to roll his own recipe and has enjoyed success with his homemade boilies made using NASH bait squid and all-season squid mixes along with additives from the NASH bait range. German NASH consultant Daniel Konopatsky is a big fan of the monster squid purple boilies, having had another great year, particularly in the spring, as he believes that it brings even the older, more experienced carp on the bank. Big carp catcher Ralph Emmerich scored big fishing monster squid purple boilies when a trip to his local lake produced this common of nearly 25 kilos. Consistent as ever, Tobias Steinbrook again caught an awful lot of carp using his favourite NASH bait monster squid purples. Polish NASH agent Paul Kiermasek fished a 1,600-acre lake in southern Poland using monster squid purple and caught this lovely dark 38-pound mirror. Austrian NASH consultant Christoph Ecki Eckhart used monster squid boilies in his quest for this massive Austrian common of 32.6 kilos. Monster squid purple also accounted for some giant Austrian commons when Thomas Harderer caught commons of 23 and 24.5 kilos in the same session. Austria is a country with a lot of potential, and that was exploited by Willem Verspoor, who caught this big common from one of the giant mountain lakes using NASH bait Scopex squid red boilies. Longtime NASH man Matteo Mammochi fished a 3-day stint at one of the Italian lakes, catching amongst many others big carp of 19 kilos, 19.5 kilos, 20.5 kilos and this 21 kilo beast on the purple. And something a little different but no less impressive from well-known Italian carp angler Graziano Giambastiani, who caught this giant grass carp using monster squid.
Awesome Dutch common. The other one of the two we caught last night also fell for the monster squid. Very pleased. Lovely.
Here she is. So 27.3 kilo. Her name is Julia. The local guys have caught her a few times. And I caught it. I caught it on the monster squid 20mm bottom bait. So, well, I can only be very happy to catch it. So, Once again, thank you very much, Gary, for giving me such a great bait.
For a change, I'm actually close to home today, probably about 50 yards from my front door. It's one of the rare sort of times, well, particularly this year, that I've had a chance to do a bit of English fishing and sort of close to home. It's been a really busy year for me, travelling away, but I've loved every minute of it. March was the first proper trip away. It was down to near the Spanish border, a place called Ictus Lake. I was, as usual, was up for a new venue, a new challenge, and I mean, it was a very cold spring over here, and it was horrible and cold here. And looking at the weather forecast, it was 27 degrees out there in sunshine. Well, it didn't quite turn out like that, because when we got down there, they hadn't actually seen snow settle on the ground in that area since 1985, and we had 3 days of, well, about 6 inches of snow on the ground. So it was a bit of a shock. It turned out all right, because I ended up getting my first proper carp in the snow. I was really happy with that, and it was worth travelling all that distance for that one moment, really. It was a good session. I was there for a week. I think I had 15 fish. 3 40s was like the best of it. In cold conditions, it was a great week. The next proper trip really was Rainbow. We was about a month behind with the spring, so really, although it was April, it was like fishing in March. Started off there with Simon, my old mate Simon Crowe, and we both had 50s, so he had a £50 common, I had 2 50-pound mirrors. Quite a few fish, a few 40s in there, but it was just a little bit too early. The best of it really sort of happened about a week or two after I'd come home. I started hearing about all the big fish, and I guess that's one of the points really with the fishing I do. You rely on so much luck with the timing of a trip. It's okay, but you can't win them all. There's always next year. It was back home for a little while. Had a lovely session down on Church Pool actually, start of May. My wife Joan had the cuckoo fish, which turned out to be the last capture of it. And we had some lovely fish, about 12 fish we had, a few of the scaly ones. And then it was back away. My next trip was Poland, which was, literally a few days after the Church Lake. Never been to Poland before. Got to say, what a nice country Poland is. The roads were fantastic. The people were really nice, looked after us really well. And the lakes were absolutely stunning. There's some lovely lakes out there, and with some lovely carp. We fished 2 different lakes. The first one was the best one, Goslovice it was called, in the north. Ended up with about 25 fish from there, I think, up to 45-12 was the biggest. Nice old mirror. Had a little bit of a rest in June, did a bit of work for a change. Even I have to do a bit of work sometimes. July, I was on my way to Cassian, my favourite water of all the ones I've ever fished. It goes back, 27 years now. I've been fishing Cassian. It was the first place I ever went outside of England, and still try and go back there every year. It was another struggle, but a lovely session. I absolutely loved being there, red hot every day, 30 odd degrees every day, 20 odd degrees at night even. Hardest thing with Cassian is always getting on the fish. It's always trial and error. Fish a spot, if they're there, good. If they're not, move on. So it was getting on for the second week when I actually found some fish. Then I caught fish up to mid-30s. Before I knew it, it was time to leave again, moving on to August, was Lac Serrière. It's totally different to Cassian, obviously. I mean, going from a great big lake down to this, it's only a little 3-acre pool, Badger's Hole, but there's something about it I really like. You know, it's a lovely little lake, nice and intimate. Good week's fishing that was. Caught fish every day, and it's got 4 or 5 60s in there, and you know, of course, you're always hoping for one of those. But yeah, the catch, so 20s, 30s, the odd 40 every day. It was good fishing, really enjoyable. September, Germany. Started off in the north of Germany again with the pike fishing. Only 3 days, 3 separate day sessions out on the boat, out in the Baltic Sea, but me and 3 of my mates, we had about 60, 70 pike. I had decent fish every day, over a metre. You know, a metre pike is like our 30s or 40s, or that's like the benchmark, and you know, I caught those every day, so well impressed with that. And that was all on the little scope rods as well. You know, I mean, getting to that lure fishing, the rods and reels are silly prices. Now, I thought, oh, you know, I'm sure the scope rods would be ideal for that lure fishing. I took the 9-foot 3-pounders over, and they were absolutely perfect for it. And like I say, I caught good fish. Well, I caught the biggest fish every single day on them. So, you know, they work all right. Literally 3 days of that, a couple of days chilling out, and drove south to Bavaria, about 600-700 miles south. Lovely little lake down. Started off well. I had a 52 and a 30 1/4 on the first night, so it started well. Ended up catching again every day, 30s and 40s mainly. Ended up with 2 50s for that week, so a nice week. Four days at home straight after that, and then I was down at Rainbow with Curry for a week. We was in swim 21 down there, which is probably the most one-sided swim on the lake, where the right-hand side is definitely a lot better than the left, and it was his turn for choice. We do it fair like that, and so I knew I was going to struggle, and he had caught about 12 fish by Wednesday. I hadn't had a bite, and eventually I did start. I had a 30 and a 42 on the Wednesday, and that sort of kick-started it. My best was 61, I had a 54, Crowie had a 63, so it was a really good week. But even as I was packing up on the Saturday morning, I had four fish. I had a 42, 2 45-pound mirrors and a 49 common, literally in the last hour and a half while I was packing up. I'm thinking, God, I want another week of this, you know, but that was it, my time was up. It has been a good year. I mean, looking for it, there's been no blanks in all of that. Anyway, I know there's always going to be times when it's hard, but if I can go away with just one fish, I sort of think, well, you know, at least I've caught something. I've had some good trips amongst that lot. It's been good stuff, that is. I guess the nice thing about working with NASH and using NASH gear is they do everything. Basically everything you want for a trip away is there, which is absolutely fantastic. But there is certain products which are very important to me, and there's a few little ones that stand out that I use a lot. When it comes to continental fishing, gradually I've gone bigger and bigger in both respects. Leads, gradually I've gone from sort of the old days of 3s and 4s, and I'm working my way up to 6s, 7s and 8s sometimes. You want the lead to give you a good hook hold quick, and that's what they do. Brilliant leads they are. Grip the bottom well, hook the fish well. Bigger hooks definitely do the job, and the twisters, I've got to say, they're the strongest and the sharpest hooks I've used, and you know, once they're in, they stay in. And there's trips even to Rainbow, the trips where I've landed 100% of the fish I've hooked, and you know, it's quite rare on places like that, so that's what you want. If you can land all the fish you're hooking, it don't get any better than that. One of the guys, it's Alan Blair who put me onto these. You know, he said they're really good for feature finding. In conjunction with an echo sounder, it gives you a perfect reading of what's down there, and an echo sounder gives you all the depths and it gives you a rough idea with the features. But what this does, once you put the sections together with the metal tip, you can actually put that down on the bottom and you can feel what's down there. You can feel if it's gravel, feel if it's mussels, silt. I've really found one of these bits of kit absolutely invaluable. It really does help you. There's one other bit of kit which has become a real favourite for me. The old scope rods. Mainly it started off with the boat work for rainbow. You know, long rods don't lend themselves very well to fishing in boats. But I've actually ended up using the scopes in all sorts of situations. And today I'm using it as my spod rod. It's probably the rod I use more than any other now. I use it all over the place, and it's not a gimmick. It's a really good bit of kit. That's just a few of the bits. I mean, there's, like I say, a whole range of kit that I use, but you know, that's about half a dozen bits that I've just picked out that sort of made a difference, and I use them all the time. They do the job.
NASH Siren S5R. Next generation bite indication.
It's been a great DVD, and we've given you some great and exciting stuff. And of course, it's probably fair to say it's been, again, one of our best years for gear. But as this lovely late autumn sun is setting on the year, I thought I'd come have a session up in my own church and reflect and do a bit of proper fishing just for myself. And while sitting there, I was thinking about an article I've had in mind to write for a while. I guess the article is based on a large number of people I get come on my Facebook asking about rigs, what rig to use where. The other thought I've been thinking of writing about is about indication. I just don't understand what's happened to indication. You know, the good old days we used bite alarms and indicators to let us know when we had a bite, and from that we reacted to it. Now they seem to be just ornaments on the line. So let's talk about how I go about me fishing in terms of indication and what rigs to use on the day. I see every time I go fishing is a new situation. So let's talk about how I'm approaching today on the church. When I've arrived, first thing I noticed as I come up here how sharp the wind is now. And so I decided to be on the back of it. You know, first real chilly cold wind of the year. And on the church, the fish certainly, from my observations, get out of the wind. So I decided to fish this bank, which is known as a Wibbly. In front of me I've got wee beds, some nice little gullies of silt with some clean hard areas on top which I've just plumbed. I've got in mind's eye already where I'm going to fish me 4 rods. The right hand one here is in the margin. I had a plumb around, found a little tiny hard spot amongst silkweed. Big thing about clay pits, in a way they're the easiest lakes to read because the clay is always soft unless of course a carp's come along and cleaned it off. So when you cast out and feel a bump on a lead, you can be fairly certain that, you know, that's an area that's recently been evacuated. So I found a little spot amongst silkweed. I'm very comfortable about that. And that's the only rod I'm going to fish slack line. There's a massive myth in my mind about slack line fishing. The further out in the lake you're fishing a slack line, the harder it is going to be to get good indication. Did some underwater stuff, and I can tell you the bite indication is appalling. The only time I see to fish a slack line is in a margin situation, so the fish are going to be swimming left or right to this margin rod. I don't want them to come up to that rod, see the line and swim up and over it and miss the bait. So that's the only rod I've laid flat and slack on the bottom because it's in the margin, it's short range, and so I'm going to get indication because the fish is only going to go one way, away from me. So what rig am I going to use for my margin rod? Well, as I mentioned, it's silkweed. I found a little hard spot. I'm not so much bothered about getting back on that hard spot. I'm sure they're browsing the whole area, so to my mind it's perfect for a chod rig, and it just sit somewhere near that hard spot on top of that silkweed. So on my choddy I'm fishing a critter, and let's see what happens there. In fact, out of all the rigs I've got out today, that's the one I want to see roar off. I'm fishing the bug life mix, and I'm really excited about this concept of a ground bait that attracts naturals, which in turn attract the carp. I mentioned we did some experiments, but even to me it was a real eye-opener when we did the underwater stuff. You know, and that is really proof of the pudding when you've got a guy down the bottom of the lake pretending to be a carp. It actually reveals some things even I didn't expect. Indication wise, he was having to move 8-10 foot in a straight line out to straighten up the line enough to get a bleep on the siren. That stunned me, that he had to move that far. Left and right, indication was non-existent. 15-20 foot and still no bite. You know, and things like just lifting up the hook and the rig and the lead that carp do and then shake it out. You wouldn't even know you've been done. You know, you could get done 20 times a day. The one that really got me was a myth about fluorocarbon. You know, I know a lot of people use it. I've considered it myself in the past, I'll be honest, because it's so heavy, but it's not good on knot strength, and that's why I've never used it, and I'm glad I haven't now, you know, because again it's a myth. You know, we saw that it sunk heavy into the bottom of the rod tip and by the rig, but in between it was just big coals all off the bottom, and what was interesting, it was like a spring. Until you pulled those coals out, you never got any indication at all. So taking the next rod along from the right, that one's fished in a maggot rig. Autumn, winter is a great time for maggot fishing, I believe, especially after they've been hammered all year on the boilies. So that's on top of a hard patch, a ridge of clay. So any carp coming along should easily see them wriggling away. And the next rod along, that's just in the silt, my old favourite blowback rig. Slightly buoyant to sit on the silt, just throwing stick baits out there, so I visualise they're just going to settle down and be partly submerged in the silt but also visual. So that's why I selected those two rigs. Now again, back to the big one, indication. I think how I'm fishing those is what's popularly called semi-slack, with a drop on the indicator. Key thing, if I get a pick up from a carp, I'm going to get quick and positive indication. Again, going back to the diver, with weighted indicators with a bit of a drop, it's so-called semi-slack. You know, as soon as he picked up the lead off the bottom, I got a bleep on my siren. He moved forward, you know, within inches I was getting a bleep. Left or right I was getting a bleep. So I'm going to know if a carp picks up that bait. And my fourth rod is in a position which arguably next to slack lining is the least understood or practiced properly, and that's fishing against a far margin or island, something like that, where in essence your indication is going to be what's referred to as a drop back. In this case I'm fishing against reeds over there. Now in that situation it's about having the line as tight as you can so you can register that fish swimming towards you. So you need a lot of tension on your line, either real heavy bobbing or a swing type that's loaded. This is a situation where I feel the old flying back legs really come in. It's a situation where I love using them. It's the heaviest one I can, but I put a backstop up the line because I don't want it to fly so far up that because they're heavy bobbing I'll actually lift it up off the bottom. So in essence I'm trying to get the line as tight as I can but still have a bit buried on the bottom by the rig. The rig choice in this instance is a short rig, and that's because it's really been cleaned out along those reeds. So I'm fishing on a definite area of hard bottom. I've baited really tightly. This rod is a classic example where good indication is needed. There is the possibility the fish could crash into the reeds and be lost, so I've got to be on them straight away. I've got to know straight away if something's hooked, and so I'm fishing for that rod on one bleep. So there you go, that's how I'm approaching this swim today. I hope I've put it across simply. I don't really think it's hard, is it? You know, it's just a question of finding the spot, deciding how best to fish that spot, what rig for it, and then the important point is how you get your presentation right with the bobbin and the bite alarm to be effective as possible. Now I'm going to sit back and hope for a big girl to come along. What a carp. Particularly happy with this one. You can see it's a very pretty fish, but it was caught over the bug life on a water boatman critter, so it's a bug life beauty. Just as the sun got up this morning, about 10:30, she roared off. You don't get much more beautiful than that. That's why the church is such a desirable fishery. I've had a great session, topped off by this beauty. 40 1/4, a new 40 for the church. And after last year's tragedy when I lost a few, it's great to see him coming back and looking in such good condition as this girl. What way to end. Thanks for watching, guys and girls, and have a great 2014. Hope you catch the fish of your dreams.